Imagine training for months, not casually, not when you feel like it. You're tracking macros, planning meals, structuring your day around performance. You choose protein powder because it's supposed to be the safe choice, the boring choice, the thing you don't have to question. And then you find out someone may have been selling cake batter as protein powder. Not a meme, not a joke, not satire, a real product, with a real label, consumed every day by real people. And the worst part isn't that it happened. The worst part is that nobody inside the industry was surprised. There's a reason for that, a reason this keeps happening. And there's one key truth, something most consumers never hear, that explains exactly how this keeps slipping through. I'll tell you what that is at the very end. The 2ND best point. First, trust builder. Let's skip the outrage and talk about stakes. Protein powder isn't niche anymore. It's not gym culture. It's daily nutrition. Athletes rely on it for recovery. Parents put it in smoothies for their kids. Older adults use it to slow muscle loss. People managing blood sugar or calories depend on it being accurate. This isn't a novelty product. It's foundational nutrition. So when a company is accused of selling something closer to cake mix than protein, this isn't a branding mistake. It's a trust failure. And here's where it gets strange. Experienced consumers weren't shocked. They expected it. The irony: nitrogen monoxide 1 can ignore cake batter is engineered to do one thing: taste indulgent. Protein powder is engineered to do something else: perform. Cake batter hides nutrition behind pleasure. Protein powder is supposed to deliver nutrition without theatrics. So when the two start looking suspiciously similar, thick, dessert-like, indulgent, that's not innovation. That's camouflage. Most people miss this next part. You don't accidentally turn protein into cake batter. That requires intention. The industry wake-up cycle every few years. The supplement industry repeats the same cycle. A lawsuit, a lab test, a whistleblower. Outrage follows. But that's when everything flipped, because people inside the industry weren't shocked. They were tired. Tired of explaining that not all protein powders are equal. Tired of competing with flavor gimmicks. Tired of watching integrity lose to hype. And right when you think it's over, another story breaks. Why this keeps happening: protein powder isn't hard to make. Good protein powder is expensive to make. That's the difference. High-quality protein sources cost money. Margins get tight. And here's the detail that changes everything. Cutting corners doesn't always look illegal. The gray zone: some companies don't lie outright. They manipulate. They overload flavor systems, add fats and carbs for mouthfeel, use cheaper protein sources diluted with fillers. The label may technically comply with regulations, but functionally, the consumer thinks they're buying nutrition, and they're getting dessert powder with a protein label. Most people don't realize this. Legal doesn't always mean ethical. Marketing vs responsibility. This is where the irony sharpens. The louder the marketing, the quieter the nutrition. Decadent, desertins, pired, indulgent. Those words should raise red flags when attached to protein. But pay attention to this part. Consumers are trained to trust flavor. Taste builds loyalty faster than lab data ever could. And some companies exploit that. When trust takes collateral damage, when stories like this break, it doesn't just hurt one brand, it hurts the entire category. Retailers get cautious, consumers get skeptical, good brands get questioned. And here's where it takes a dark turn. Ethical companies pay the price for someone else's shortcuts. Protein is foundational. If trust erodes here, everything else suffers. This is not a novelty product. This isn't pre-workout. This isn't a fat burner. Protein is food, and when food is misrepresented, the consequences aren't cosmetic. They affect recovery, health outcomes. What made my stomach drop? People defending the practice because it tasted good. The low expectations problem, here's the part nobody talks about. The supplement industry has been conditioned to accept low standards. We shrug and say, that's supplements, but we don't accept that from baby food or medicine or basic groceries, but label it fitness and expectations drop. That's when the situation spiraled. The everyone does it myth ull, hear this excuse. Everyone does it. No, they don't. But the ones who do are louder. And this is where it gets personal. Ethical brands pay more, earn less, and still get lumped in with bad actors. What real trust looks like. Trust doesn't come from influencers. It comes from consistency. Reputable brands do boring things. They disclose protein sources, publish amino acid profiles, test raw materials and finished products, avoid protein spiking. Most people miss this next part. Transparency costs money. That's why bad actors avoid it. Taste is not the enemy. Protein doesn't have to taste bad. But when taste becomes the primary selling point, nutrition becomes optional. That's when protein starts cosplaying as cake mix. Then something unexpected happened. Consumers started defending it. The consumer defense loop you'll hear. It fits my macros. It helps me stick to my diet. It tastes amazing. But here's the truth. None of that matters if the label is misleading. Taste doesn't justify deception. And this is where it gets wild. People confuse enjoyment with legitimacy. The open loop payoff, the secret, remember, the key truth. Here it is. If a protein product is marketed like dessert, it's usually formulated like dessert. That's the filter. If indulgence is louder than formulation, if transparency feels optional, you already know the answer. That one realization cuts through almost every misleading protein product on the market. The bottom line: selling cake batter as protein isn't clever. It's insulting. Consumers deserve better. The industry is stronger when honesty is non-negotiable. Choose brands that earn trust through boring consistency, not flashy flavors. Because in a space built on health and performance, integrity isn't optional. It's the minimum. End screen CTA. If you want to learn how to spot misleading supplements before they make headlines, watch the next video on your screen. Because once you know what to look for, you can't unsee it.